When two people are coming together.
Is that a test though?
It is. I was in 5th grade, somebody broke my heart, nobody's talking about that.
There is a clash.
I've opened up to some people and the next day, I've been ghosted, I'm like...
It comes with vulnerability.
Hey, are you blushing?
Yes.
Why are you blushing?
I don't know.
Okay, so how do we do this? Do I introduce myself?
Okay.
Are you going to tell her I'm not your boyfriend?
Hey, I'm not going to mention it.
I'm just saying.
I'm not going to say anything. Hey guys, welcome to More to Love. So this podcast is all about building healthy relationships and learning how to rebuild yourself if you've been through a long-term relationship and you've had a relationship breakup. So today I'm here with Biggs.
Hey, the one and only, yes of course, it's Biggs the boss. How y'all doing?
So I think we've had like similar backgrounds in terms of we've both been married before in long-term marriages and we have had to start over, right? Okay. So I thought it would be good to talk about some of the things that perhaps we know that we didn't do well and that we should have worked on. But today specifically, I want us to focus on uncommunicated expectations. Now I know that sounds really dry, uncommunicated expectations, but I feel like it's really important for a good foundation to a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. You have to verbally put that contract out. That understanding out, and it's like business. Relationship is business. So.
Exactly, a relationship is a business, and I think a lot of people don't necessarily see that. They just pick a partner because it's how they feel, right? But feelings only last so long. Feelings are never sustainable. So feelings are great, but there has to be more to it. It has to be layered.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it has to be a layer. It's like a food pyramid type of situation going on. You gotta have the foundations, and then what is at the peak. So absolutely. I think it's just sitting down with your potential partner and constructing that pyramid, that love pyramid. What is, hey, at this basis, what is more like, what is fundamentally, important to us? And then, build up on that. So yeah.
Absolutely, I agree. So I think, so when it comes to entering a new relationship, I think, I don't know why I'm smiling.
Are you in a relationship?
Oh, why you asked me that for? Oh my goodness.
Okay, all right. Okay. We'll leave that for later. Hey, who are you in a relationship with? Somebody has got somebody has taken the last hats. Okay, well, let's go. Keep on.
Oh my God.
Keep on.
Okay.
Anyway. Blushing on.
Yes, stop. Making me feel all heated.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I was saying, so there are some things that you need to discuss. So the reason that a lot of relationships go wrong is because we don't communicate to the other person what we expect out of the relationship, and therefore there's like some misaligned happening, right? So for example, like if we were together. Tell me about that. If we were together and I didn't say to you, you know what, I love it when a guy buys me flowers, but I expect you to buy me flowers, but I've never told you that. That's an uncommunicated expectation. And then when you don't buy me flowers, now I'm going to be upset that you haven't bought me flowers, but you don't know to buy me flowers. So these are some of the things.
Side note, do you like flowers? I just want to know something.
I like chocolate.
Yeah, I know you like chocolate. But okay, back to the subject.
Yeah, so these are some of the things. So I think it's really important early on to iron out and talk about some of the things that you would like to see from the relationship, so that the other person is able to say whether they can deliver or they can't deliver. Because sometimes a person may not be able to give you what you want. Yeah. And that's important.
Yeah, sometimes a person it's not even that. Yes to that, but more importantly, sometimes, I feel like when two people are coming together, right? The first most important thing is this level of self-awareness on each individual scale. Because, I want to use that same very example, right? Let's say we had started dating and you came to me about this. You love flowers. All right, I'm a little complicated. I don't like flowers. I don't like giving flowers. I would rather give you a plant. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person I'd rather give you a plant because, I don't know, I'm just really big into nature. I like those things. I'm like, I'm complicated, all right? I think when I think about flowers, I feel like, it's such a waste. It's like it's something that doesn't last. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I'd rather give a plant to somebody and see, hey, like, are you capable of taking care of a plant? Like, that to me...
Is that a test, though?
It is.
Really?
Yes.
To see if they can look after the plant?
Yes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how much do you cherish this? You know
That's
what I'm
very
saying?
interesting.
So for me, it's like, again, so it's like when you meet a person who can have this level of dialogue, it's cool. But in order for us to even have that level of dialogue, I have to know that, okay, I have to truly be okay with letting you know that, no, I'm not okay. Some guys do it just to be pleasers, right? And I think that's a good median where you can do something to make somebody happy, but at the same token also without taking anything away from you, right? If I'm forcing myself to get you flowers, knowing deep down that I don't feel right about this, it takes something away from me.
I think that is okay as long as you've expressed your reasoning to the other person.
That part.
Right? But if you haven't told the other person, I'll be like, but why won't you buy me flowers? Are you just selfish? You don't want to spend the money, you don't want me to feel good.
Yeah.
Like, do you see what I'm saying? So these, even though it's a small thing, it's something that can blow up to be something much
Absolutely.
bigger.
And I say all this to say, yes, even knowing this, and I've known this about myself before for a long time, I've still gotten flowers from some of my exes, right? But it's not a regular thing. You know, I've dated people who are like, oh, I expect flowers every week. I'm saying, well, you ain't gonna be getting no flowers every week. If you want flowers every week, you know what, then you better start familiarizing yourself with some of these wild grown flowers, right? All right, do you know what this is? Do you know what calendula is? Do you know what this? I'll pick flowers. I feel like that's much more of a romantic gesture. Like I would, if you're driving around, like some of my favorite flowers is like a magnolia. I love magnolias. I will climb a tree and pick a plug of magnolia and get something. There's much more significance in that than just going to the store, picking this up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, that's just me. And that's how I move. So if somebody is attracted to me and they've taken the time to get past the physical, like, oh, I'm physically attracted to you, and same vice versa, if I've taken the time to like get past the physical attraction, it's like, oh, let's get to the nitty gritty. Like, how do you work? You know what I mean? How do you tick? Vice versa. And then I can get to the next layer, so.
I'm very interested about this plant thing, though.
Oh, Lord.
No, I want you to tell me more. Like, because sometimes I think that we need to look a bit deeper into somebody else's actions. So you said you'd replace the flower with a plant because you want to see how the person would look after the plant.
One of many things, yeah. But I feel like it's more like it lasts longer. You know what I'm saying? Like flowers, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not the easiest. I mean, there are other ways that you can like take care of a flower and make it last longer, but it's still not that much significance. Like, hey, you're actually dedicating your time to, like, you're waking up in the morning, you're timing yourself, you're like, oh, I'm still, like, we're checking the progress of this plant. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like.
So what does that do for you when you buy a plant for a woman? Is that you want to see if she's nurturing, if she's caring?
Yes,
is that what it is?
Yes. I feel like, just like plants, as humans, like, it's that exchange of energy. You know, sometimes I come across people that are like, I've never been able to keep a plant alive, and I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, huh. yes. I'm like, huh. What energy are you giving off to these plants that these plants can't survive around you? What are you doing? What are you doing to these plants? How bad, or is it just a lack of attention? Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's these certain things, and maybe that's the task I want to take on and be like, you know what, okay, I'm not like the greatest with plants, but I know a little something, let me see. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's all these come from communicating and understanding that, okay, this person is this way, I'm this way. Can we mesh? Like, where do we mesh? You know? And then once we mesh, what does it look like moving forward?
Yeah.
And then constructing that reality, that vision, that reality within ourselves.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's really important to talk about the things that you expect out of the relationship. And some of those conversations can be uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially if you're coming from a place or a past of like past trauma, past relationship, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot, believe it or not, even though it's a little difficult, but it's a lot easier getting into new relationships, right? Like we all have some level of trauma, like, you know, I don't know, I was in 5th grade, somebody broke my heart, you know what I'm saying? But as you get older, the worse it gets, the more traumatic in reality, like, you really sit down like, okay, no, this is actually real trauma, you know what I'm saying, in comparison to getting my heart broken in 5th grade, right? But when you're building that new relationship and you have this facade, really, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, when it comes to love these days, right, we don't see as good amount of us don't see a good like standard of what love is. Like we get programmed from reality shows, TV, cartoons, Cinderella stories. You know what I'm saying? That is the standard. You know, so some of us go into relationships with the bar that high. And then when we start experiencing anything short of that, but it's like we've not even really seen that in real life. We've seen that on the TV screens.
Right.
And that is not real life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, ain't no happily ever after. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in the movies, they're not, in the cartoons, they're not talking about after they got married, what
happened next.
you know what I'm saying, day 364 look like.
Yeah.
When the kid starts coming in place, when all these, like, nobody's talking about that. You know what I'm saying? So having that realistic expectations going in, or even starting from scratch, like if I partnered up with a person, like if I could do it all over again, I would certainly like, I'll take it a lot easier, right? You know what I'm saying? I won't be so rushed I won't rush into the process of like getting married because this is what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Do the right thing. Okay, she's pregnant, like, you know what I'm saying? Like all these pressures. Whereas it's like, you know what? I'm not even gonna lie, some baby daddies are winning these days. I could have just very much have been a baby daddy and been in a much better position than I am right now. Than, like, you know, she's pregnant. Like, let me do the right thing. Let's get married. Let's do, like, you know, let's follow this trajectory.
Yeah.
That I don't have anybody in my immediate circle doing this where I can say that this is how it's supposed to be done. But I was okay at that age to be this trailblazer. Like, you know what? I'm ready to go on this journey. What I didn't realize though was my partner was not that, for lack of better, enlightened, that it's like, okay, this is what this journey was going to look like. It was going to be rough. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you're a trailblazer in any aspect, you can't, there's no path, there's no clear path. Like, if you've ever gone hiking, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are able to go hiking because there's a trail.
Yeah.
But can you imagine going off the beaten path? Like, you got to figure shit out. Like, I've tried some hiking trips and gone off the beaten path, trying to be romantic. I picked Shorty up, stepped on the wrong path. We were down the hill. You know what I'm saying? That in itself is an example of how real life can get. You know, so.
Yeah. I like what you said about bringing in past traumas, and sometimes that is something that you do need to talk about. It's a very uncomfortable conversation, but you must talk about your past traumas so that the other person can understand and meet you where you are. Because if you don't, it's a problem. Somebody can't understand, but why is she reacting like this? Because they don't understand that it's because of this. Do you see what I'm saying? Because, you know, the older you are, when you get into a relationship, you have more baggage, you have more things. And therefore, it's like, it's very, very difficult
It's a clash.
There is a clash, and it makes it hard, you know?
I think the like what is necessary to kind of like really open the floodgates of communication and vulnerability, right?
Yes.
Right? Again, going back to this level of self-awareness, like, you have to sit down with yourself, right? Like, give yourself the time that is needed after that traumatic relationship to really process. Go to therapy, do all the good stuff. Like, read the self-help books, like journal, sit down and talk to yourself.
To rediscover yourself, yeah.
Not just even rediscover yourself, but it's like, understand why this was truly traumatic, right? Not just the face value of it, like, oh, I don't know, she put her hands on me. It's like, okay, well, what did, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, investigate those feelings for yourself. Right, on an individual level, like, all right, I didn't like this, and this is how this made me feel, and this is how this makes me react, this is how this makes me, you know what I'm saying? That's on the self level. Now, when you meet the other person, and you feel like it's a safe space to have that, to let those walls down and open yourself, like, hey, you know what? Because at the end of the day, we all know this thing, you have your story, your spouses also, they have their story, and then everybody else who was kind of like in that mix also have their story, but be completely open, honest with yourself, what that meant for you. You know what I'm saying? And then now be able to discuss that with your potential partner. And then with, you know, with the walls down. And you guys open up that. I don't want to call it trauma bonding, but I think some people even call it that. But it's like, it could be a good and a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? So long as that is done from a place where it's like, yo, let's figure ourselves out and let's be completely honest with ourselves if this is something we can do based off of that. Like, do I, like, sometimes when you start talking out loud to other people and then they start poking holes in your story, sometimes that's the best thing because you start thinking, it's like looking at something with a new set of eyes, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like even that level of vulnerability, it's a road to like self-discovery. You know what I'm saying? Because you're like, oh, you might be feeling this way and all this stuff. And then somebody will hit you with a question and you'll be like, oh, damn, I never looked at it from this perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe let me take the time out to re-examine some things about how I felt. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good thing.
But at like what point do you think that you can have the conversation where you can bring the walls down and be vulnerable with someone? Because let's be honest, right? Sometimes we have relationships that just don't go well. Like if this has been like a 3-week relationship, you don't want to have told the person all your deepest, darkest. Just what I mean, how do you know when it's comfortable or when it's safe enough to have that kind of that level of conversation?
In the military, there's something like a need to know, right? It's like there's some secrets that like we got to take to our graves. Like, you know what I'm saying? If that's what makes the bulk of your trauma, then maybe you should not be ready to be dating, right? But it's like you, again, have to come to a space where you are, I don't want to say so much accepting, because it's like what has happened. So you have to be accepting of what has happened, right? And made peace with it, right? To an extent where you can discuss it. Whether it's with a potential partner, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with a therapist, right? It's like you don't want to be going around and just trauma dumping on people, of course not, right? Like that's how I feel like the therapist is the first person you should go to because that's what you're paying them for. Like, take this off take this load off of me, right? But there's some ways that you can, like for me, right? And I could only speak, disclaimer, I could only speak from my perspective. I ain't speaking from nobody's perspective. But for me, I find myself in spaces where it just comes almost automatic. Like I let my guard down. Like my story is my story, so I'm not afraid to share it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it from a place of maliciousness, whatever. I'm doing it from a place of enlightenment. I want to know more. Like I said, like I like people to poke holes through, like interrogate me about these things, right? So that I can solidify that reality in my head because I'm like, okay, is this just, am I expressing these feelings from solely a emotional space, or were these things really happening? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes some things can happen, and your recollection of it is completely different. You know, so it's like when you're being this level of authentic, and you know what I'm saying, you're being yourself. Like it doesn't matter. Like what are you going to do with that information? I told you, and let's just say we had a falling out. You want to. I don't care. It's still my truth. It's still my reality. What are you gonna blackmail me? Like what? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we have this like crazy thoughts, like somebody can do so much with the information that it's like no. But I think that's when you realize that you're truly at a space of peace.
But that's also to do with self-confidence, because some of us maybe not be confident enough for something to be exposed yet, right? So it's not that, you know, when we haven't necessarily dealt with it, it's just that we're not at a place of confidence where we feel like we can share all these things with another person because maybe internally we're still dealing with some things, you know?
I don't disagree, but if, again, in the space of like, all right, meeting a potential partner, right? If you sit back and your traumas in your past are that bad enough where you're like, I don't want to repeat these same mistakes again, then it behooves you to make sure that you're going through a proper vetting process. And the first way to even allow that is to expose yourself. You have to expose yourself. You have to talk about your good, your bad, and your uglies, right? Because listen, we're trying to do this thing called life together, right? So this is who the fuck I am. This is how great of a person I can be. This is how, like, you push me the wrong, you know what I'm saying? You push me the wrong way. This is how bad of a person I can be, right? And I've opened up to some people, and the next day I've been ghosted, and I'm like, oh well. I'm like, damn. I was like, damn, I thought we had a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, like, non-stop voice notes going around. I'm like, nah, this person is, I can't call it, like, what the fuck happened? But I was like, you know what? no love found, no love lost, whatever that saying is. At the end of the day, it's like, to me, it's like, cool.
Yeah.
You weren't the one for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, what are you going to do with this information? At worst, oh yeah, oh, I know this guy, he's whatever. You're not for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't affect my bills. It doesn't affect none of that. It doesn't affect my livelihood. Hey, somebody comes to me. Let's say I meet a new person, right? And they're like, oh, I heard this about you. Good for you. If you want to believe that, cool. Or if you, that's how I know that you're not matured enough, right? To even be in my space. Because if you heard this about me without knowing me and you want to quickly attach me to that notion, cool. Go that way. Yeah. Stay out of my way. You know what I'm saying? You don't belong in my immediate environment. You know what I'm saying? But if you're like, okay, I've heard this about you, and like I've taken the time out to like experience you for who you are, and realize that like, oh, okay. Yeah. Again, this what I've heard doesn't match who you are. And then that shows a certain level of maturity, because it's like not everything that, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro, we're getting older. Like, yeah. How are we not how are we at this age? How are you 20, I would say even as young as 21 and above, and not aware of, like, you know what I'm saying, how society even moves, right? How gossip moves, how you know what I'm saying? Not everything you hear is true. Not even everything you see, especially even on social media. Oh yeah, it's true. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So at what level of maturity, you know what I'm saying, do you want to remain, right? So if you're finding yourself forcing to commingle with people who think and move like this, then you're not. But if you decide to elevate yourself and say, you know what, no, I need quality people around me. So this is what it's going to take. Believe whatever the hell you want to believe. I don't care. That doesn't move me. I know me. You know what I'm saying? Going back to self-awareness. When you're saying lack of confidence, right? Then you haven't taken the time out to really thoroughly investigate yourself. Like, you know what? I am okay with being this.
It's a process, though.
It is. It is. And the quicker you start, the better.
No, absolutely. If you're going to be in a relationship anyway, it comes with vulnerability. It comes with all those things. If you're gonna be in a relationship and hide who you are, you're not truly in a relationship with someone, because the person doesn't know you. Nope. Because that's what a relationship is, right? It's like two people trying to come together, mesh together, and
create a new reality.
Exactly, right? So if you're gonna pretend and hide certain aspects of yourself, then this is not a relationship. This is just completely fake. You know,
it's another trial run.
Yeah, Also, I think we need to normalize the fact that when you meet someone, you like someone, and all of those, lovely butterfly feelings are there. But when you tell the person about some of the things that you require from a relationship and the person can't deliver that, be okay with letting it go.
It is.
Like letting it go. One of the things that I've realized, because I've tried relationships, right, since my divorce, I have realized that, you know what, there are some things that just cut off very quickly. Because it's not working, and you can't force certain things. When they say when you meet the person that is for you, you will know. It's like so true. It's so true. Like, just everything else is just a distraction. And I just think you have to be okay with letting certain things go. If you tell the person,
let it die off.
Yeah, just let it go. Do you know what I mean? If you tell the person, look, I like to go on dates once a week. I wanna do this, whatever, and the person's like, no, I can't do that, then be okay. You don't necessarily have to readjust your wants if they're reasonable.
Okay, I was going to make that caveat.
I got you there. Yeah, if it's reasonable to say, you know what, then because if it's not going to make you feel good, then it's okay to say, you know what, then this isn't for me, and that's fine. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not being funny, right? We can have butterfly feelings with so many people. Like, butterfly feelings are so fleeting.
It's
completely
fleeting.
Yeah,
it's fleeting.
Next, do you know what I mean? But if you want a real relationship and you want real love, there's some things that it's going to cost you. You have to work really hard at that.
Emphasis on that cost right there, right? Because you're even saying something like these dates, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the next step after like this whole vulnerability and all of that stuff, it comes the negotiation phase. Because you also realize that there's some things that are unrealistic. Like, we all have the fantasies.
Of course.
We all have doesn't matter how self-aware you are, you're still going like, you have this idealistic view of what this should look like, right? Exactly. And then you can meet, let's just say, like, what it seems like is going around social media. Everybody's got this 6 foot, 100, 100K plus a year, whatever person, right? Huh?
How tall are you?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. I'm 5'11" and a half. The half matters,
It
right?
matters.
The half matters. Don't make me have to go get that half inch surgery so I be a 6 foot man out in these streets. I'm not a short king. I'm just kidding. Listen, I could be 4'11". I'm still gonna be big as almighty. But moving on to the next.
Yes.
Dan, see what you done did.
I know I threw you off. Sorry, I just had to just inject that a little bit there.
What was that saying?
Yeah, you were talking about how the things you see on social media are not necessarily.
Oh yeah. So okay, thank you. So I was saying, like we have all these standards, right? But you can meet somebody making easily 6 figures, but the idea that you have what this person is, when you meet that person and you realize that like this, bro, just in my circle, I know so many people who make that much.
Yeah.
Some of them are the caliber of men that they are because they know that, hey, this is, I have the options. I can do this, I can do this. So they're not coming around when you are not even squared away to even be in their vicinity. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna find yourself interrogating them, and they're gonna sit there like, why am I even wasting my time with it? Like, I got better options, gotta go, right?
Yeah.
And you also got some who like, hey, all their life, all they've known is to be this square, and they just want some good companionship, right? So they think, you know, as men, they still have not done the hard work of knowing, like, for lack of better words, their value, right?
Yeah.
The value that they actually bring to this marketplace, as they call it, right? So they're just looking for that level. They're looking for some companionship. So the next best thing, the next beautiful thing that comes to them, approach and talk to them, it's like, you know, they love it. And that's truly and honestly what a lot of women out here want. But once they get it, they realize they're like, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
It's missing some spice. It's missing some thrill. It's missing this. Unless you're just that quiet, loving, and you also want somebody, you know what I'm saying? Again,
It's true. That is exactly it. Uncommunicated expectation. Because sometimes you might be looking just for a companionship. You just don't want to be alone, right? And so therefore, there may be some things that you can compromise on because...
I don't like compromise.
You don't like compromise?
I don't like compromise. Well...
Tell me.
I heard somebody say, I can't remember who it was, but it was basically like, I can't verbatim, you know, say what they had said because I can't recall it, but what the context that I took it was like when you're compromising, there's almost to a degree a level, like it starts building some sense of resentment because you're gonna get to a space where you're gonna be like, I gave up all these things to be with you, right? Let's just, you know what I'm saying? But I don't like the word compromise. I can't remember what the other word was, but it is, again, a contractual agreement. Yeah. Right? I am saying that this is what I'm accepting. Right? And if you choose that this is what you're accepting, sure, like if you want to renegotiate this agreement down the line, of course, there should always be space for that.
Yeah.
But if you're compromising and let's say you get to a space where you're like, you know what, okay, hey, you should be able to give that disclaimer of like, I'm willing to try this and see how this feels, so that we can come back to the table. If I don't like how it feels, we could renegotiate.
Yeah, I get that, but like I think when I'm talking about compromise, I'm talking about on the smaller scale. Okay. So like, okay, I expect 2 holidays a year. And maybe you can only give me 1. Okay, we'll compromise.
So are you giving yourself 2 holidays a year? When I was in there, you know, are you, you know what I'm saying?
That's a good question, but for some people that might be on their list.
And I agree.
I need 2 holidays a year. Can the person deliver that? If the person says no, you have to be okay with that or move along.
Oh, move along, absolutely.
You know,
that part.
Yeah.
2 holidays a year.
2 holidays a year.
Where you going? where have you been last year?
Down the road, mate.
Okay, sure. We can take 2 trips to Malcolm. We could go to Malcolm.
Yes. But no, I do actually think it's very, very important to talk about some of the things that you expect from the relationship. Absolutely. In order for that relationship to be healthy, because
no matter how hard the conversation is.
Yeah, because it's so easy.
I feel like even the harder the conversation, the closer it brings people together.
It absolutely does. It's so true. Like
it's
that.
Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like you really have to engage people into thinking deeper than they already do. And I think that's the purpose of those hard questions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on. Fuck the surface level shit. Like,
yeah,
let's dive
in.
Deep. Let's dive deep. Like,
and I think the sooner you have those types of conversations, the better it is for you, because then you know what? Yeah, we're both on the same path. This is what we want.
Or we're not.
Yeah, or we're not.
We're not.
It's simple as that.
And that you should. I feel like where some people mess up is that they forget that we are all human beings and we are all flawed. And I think this is the hiccup where it comes to the vulnerability, right? Because some people don't realize, they don't realize that they're dealing with other humans, right? And so they have this facade about this person, and when this person finally brings the guard down and shows you the truth, and you're like, all of a sudden you're not attracted, which is a good thing, but it still doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think what needs to be maintained is that, like, you have to start choosing quality, right? Of people who mutually respect you, whether it's like, hey, when they even know you're ugly. It's like, okay, you can still be respectful and know that person is not for you. Like, okay, hey, you know what? Like, I respect that you've opened it up above me, but it's like, this is something that I don't know that I don't believe that I can do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can move this. We can shift this dynamic to something else.
Yeah.
Or we can just be respectful of each other and just go our separate ways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With no ill feelings.
And that's healthy. Do you see what I'm saying? It's an uncomfortable discussion, but it's actually healthy to do that. To be able to say, you know what, this is for or it's not for me. And as simple as that.
I want to share this funny, like, it's like, it was.
Share away.
It was actually refreshing. I feel like this was the first connection that I had with somebody, and like, it was a rude awakening. Like, it's like, set the standards, set the record straight, and it's like, it was an elating feeling to know that, like, oh, I don't have to. Anyways, long story short, matched with somebody, I think it was on Hinge or something like that. We exchanged numbers, like, conversation, everything was cool, whatever the case is. And then I was like, I don't know, I just got into this mode, and I was like, bro, this swiping is getting exhausting. I ain't got time. Like, I want to cut through the chase. Yeah. So I was like, hey, you got, I scheduled a meeting, like, hey, let's get on FaceTime real quick. I just want to, like, make sure that before we really even, like, waste any more time with each other. It's like, and I don't even want to call it waste. Everybody's time is important, but, like, let's make sure that we are in tune with each other and what we want. Like,
time and energy.
It was like a good, solid 30-minute like conversation. It felt like I went into the boardroom and I was like, all right, this is my offer, this is your offer. Okay, let's see, boom, boom, boom. Okay, this is hey, okay, well, hey, I think you're a pleasant person. This is like the respect was there. It was just very nice, very mutual flow. And I was like, damn, not a lifetime. I would have loved to know this woman, but not this one. You know what I'm saying? It's like we ain't gonna match.
And that's so much better. Just to fast pace that process.
You know what I'm saying? We hadn't gone on a date. We hadn't gone out. We didn't do all that. We hadn't got intimate. None of that shit. It's like, all right, before, you know what I'm saying? I'm not too heavily invested in this. It's not this bullshit out. Like, what are we really doing? Are we here to have fun? Are we here to do whatever it is?
And that part two. What do you want out of this relationship? Is it just that you want fun? You just want someone to be with until you find somebody? Like, one thing I always say is, I think sometimes I don't really like the whole men against women conversations. I don't really like that. But I will say this. Sometimes I feel like men feel like they have to hide certain things that they want from a woman because the woman may not be accepting of it. But I actually think that if you tell a woman what you want, you'd be surprised how many women might be on board with that if you're just honest. Just give a person the option to choose this or to not choose this. Absolutely. Once you do that, the person has more respect for you. Absolutely. And it's going to be more healthy because the person has chosen it for themselves rather than you doing something in the dark and the person being forced into something and now feel like they've been deceived somehow.
Yeah, I think between both men and women, I think some people are just too addicted to this like toxicity.
That's culture. Exactly what it is.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, that's why sometimes I take people's stories to a certain degree with a grain of salt, because I'm like, sometimes I'm like, nah, I hear a lot of toxic shit going on here. And don't get me wrong, that's actually, no, I don't even like saying that anymore. Like back in the day, I could say there was a little bit of like, you know what I'm saying? There's a little bit of spice to that toxic shit, man. Now I'm like, no, I'm getting old. Like, bro, like, tired. Like, I'm losing hair. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like I don't have the space or the capacity. Like, let's do that. Like, let's live long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's live long and let's live healthy. Are you healthy? Do you want the healthy relationship? No, you don't want a healthy relationship? Okay, cool. Like, go and find the person. Like, there are people, there's somebody for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, find your person and work with that person.
Absolutely.
Go enjoy your toxic shit somewhere else and let us help. Let those who are truly and genuinely looking for healthy relationships build with each other.
And you have to know whether you are actually looking for a healthy relationship. Be honest with yourself as to what.
And even if it's a good time, you still want some level of health to that.
Of course,
you know what I'm saying. You want peace of mind. Like, hey, all right, you got a baby mama, you got a baby. Like, are they crazy? Like, ask those hard questions. Like, okay, we can have fun. Like, without me feeling like somebody's about to put somebody got an air tag in your, somebody got an air tag in your car, and they're gonna pull up in my house. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no. We're not doing all of that. We're past all of that now. Yeah. Definitely.
Fucking stress.
It is. I think it would be nice, like maybe when we're more prepared, to maybe like pick up on this conversation again and talk about some specific
toxicity.
No, some actual
some people.
specific uncommunicated expectations that we as individuals require from a relationship. But I just feel like we should maybe give that some thought, because doing it on the spot might be a bit much.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
So they'll catch us later?
Catch us later. But yeah, that's the end. I think this is a nice place to wrap up the conversation, and we'll pick it up another time. Yeah.
So what's your favorite flower? You don't even know. You don't even know flowers. You don't even know flowers, and you like flowers.
No, do you know what? I'm actually not really into flowers.
Good.
I just feel like you buy me flowers, they're gonna die after like 3 days. Like, they look beautiful, and I'm not against.
Tell me more.
This guy, what's he trying to do here?
I want to know more. You're sounding more and more like my type every day.
Really? Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Yeah, I just think it's a waste. I'm like, I'd rather you use your money wisely somewhere else for something else. Like, for me, I mean, I don't want to open up the conversation of love languages and all of that, but
that goes in line with the unexpected.
Okay, yeah. So one of the things I love, for me, it's always going to be quality time. Like, I love to spend time with the person that I love. Do you know what I mean? That is more. You can bring me chocolate though. Do you know what I mean? Like, chocolate is my thing. I like, you brought me chocolate. Okay.
Milk chocolate. What?
You know, milk chocolate.
Like something with nuts in there. What?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yes. That's exactly what I like.
Yeah. Almonds, hazelnuts.
Hazelnuts. Yeah. Why are you asking me this?
Oh, I'm just collecting data. Compiling data.
He's collecting data.
Yeah, just collecting data. Maybe I'll put this in a book or something, or maybe I will try it out myself and see how well it works for me, and I'll let y'all know.
Yeah. No, but I'm not into flowers at all. It doesn't do anything for me. There's nothing wrong with if you like flowers, but me personally, I'm just not a flower person.
I think for the next, podcast, we should definitely dive a little bit deep into like the love language. We can start leading with that.
Yeah, let's talk about love languages. Yeah, I feel like that's a whole thing.
Yeah, because some people don't really grasp. Okay, I want to put this out there before the next one, because I feel like, and I don't. Love language, when it came out, was it a book or something?
Yeah, it was a book.
Okay, so I've not read the book, so I
haven't read the book either.
So I don't know how in depth they went into it, but this is just a thought that has come to me, and maybe I should read the book. But a thought that has come to me because so many people we come across, they spewing the rhetoric of love languages, but they've only just seen the points.
Yeah.
Right, but I feel like with love languages, it's not just about. When people speak of what their love language is, a lot of it is about receiving, right? But sometimes, though you can receive it, that's not also you're not the type of person to like, okay, I love acts of service. You know what I'm saying? But me loving acts of service doesn't mean I like to give acts of service.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I want you to be...
No, we have to hold this for the next conversation. Okay. No, because we're going to go into it, and I'm like, no.
All right.
That's great. Yes, because that's exactly what I would say.
Next time.
Okay, guys, that is the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. There's going to be lots more to come. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment, and share this video. Until next time, we are out.
Peace.
That was great.
That was good.
Thank you.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Hey. Look at that sweet girl. Now you're all happy. Now you're all happy.
Oh, leave me alone.
I thought we were beefing before.
Hey, we were beefing
toxic.
Hey, leave me alone.
You're the best, baby. right, come on, let's take the kids out.